Let's take a couple of minutes and we'll walk through the system and the initial setup menu on Pioneer's DEH-X5800HD. So from any source, and we're on the AM/FM source right now, I'm going to press and hold the volume control for a couple of seconds to turn the radio off. Now the head unit is completely turned off. If we touch the display button, you could have the clock on the screen here as well if you wanted. And we're going to touch in on the volume control, and that'll bring up two menus for us. We have the initial menu and we have the system menu. We're going to start off with the initial menu, and we'll press enter there. The first thing we see here is our speaker and pre-out mode. So this head unit has a speaker hookup for 4 speakers in the car, and it has 2 sets of RCA outputs. And this is how we're going to adjust those. We're going to press enter here, and here this tells us that the rear speaker outputs are set to full range output, and the rear RCA is set to subwoofer output right now. And we can change that so that the rear speakers are set to subwoofer output and the rear RCA is set to subwoofer output. And we can roll over again so that the rear speaker is full range output and the rear RCA is full range output. Now if you want to use a subwoofer control in your system, you're going to need to roll over there here where at least the rear RCA is set to subwoofer output. That will give you a subwoofer control in the audio menu. Now we can touch the go back button and we can roll over to the next setting in the initial menu, and that is the system reset. This is the full system reset to reset the system back to the factory settings. You can do that by entering in here, and we'll roll over again. That takes us back around to our speaker and pre-out mode. So let's hit the back button, and we'll roll over to the system menu now, and press enter here. And here we can switch the auxiliary on or off. And that means the auxiliary input here can be in our source list when we press the source button. If you don't use that, you can press in there and auxiliary will not show up in your source list and you'll have no auxiliary input. For right now, let's keep that switched on. We'll roll over to the Android wired connection. This will be important to you if you're an Android phone user. We'll press enter there. There's 2 different ways to use your Android phone. One is from memory, and that means the music that is stored on your phone, either on the external card or in the phone's memory. The other way you can use it is to stream audio from any app on the phone, virtually any app on the phone, through USB. So you choose one of those, either app control for streaming audio through USB from your Android phone or from memory. For right now, we're going to choose the memory function. We'll press enter and roll over to the next setting. The next one is USB auto on. This means when you put in a USB thumb drive or plug in a phone, something like that, the system will switch to the USB source and begin to play a track. Now if you don't want it to switch to the USB source and begin to play a track, maybe you just like to use this USB as a phone charger, you can switch USB auto to off. USB auto off means it won't automatically start to play, but it will still charge a phone when it's plugged in. We're going to use USB auto as on for right now because I like to plug in a USB thumb drive and have it automatically switch to that source and begin to play a track. Let's roll over to the next setting, which is our clock set. Here you can press enter and you can use the volume control to change the hours. Press enter again, use the volume control to change the minutes. When you're done there, you can go back, roll over to the next setting, which is the hour format, 12 or 24 hour. You can just touch the volume control to change that. I like a 12-hour format on my clock. And we'll roll over to the next setting, which is our info display. The info display is the display area right underneath the word information here. And we can have a number of things show up in the information display area, including, right now it's switched off so there's nothing displayed there, but we could include a spectrum analyzer, a level meter, the source information, and the clock. For right now, we will leave that switched off. We're going to go back and roll over to the next setting, which is back around to our auxiliary input. At any time, you can exit the initial menu or the system menu by pressing the source button.